today we're going to be talking about business practices that will help you grow your coaching or your service-based business in 2020. And I know most of the people watching this replay will probably be coaches, which is great. So we'll talk about where I started in my coaching business and what had to change in order to be doing better. So the first thing that I wanted to share with you guys is that I started out as a coach and in the wellness field in 2010, and I was in sales for fitness programs as well as a personal trainer and nutrition coach. And I really struggled in the beginning because you have to learn everything for the first time and wear so many different hats. And there was also a time in that period where I started working in business development and marketing because at health startups, because I wanted to learn what they were doing on the marketing side, because the certification programs didn't really teach me how to run my business in a modern day world with social media and everything. And obviously in 2010, that wasn't really a big deal, but as time went on, it started to become something and I didn't know what I was doing. So the first section of my coaching business, I had only one uncommitted client at about $50 a session. And I realized something had to change. I felt like this old lady here. And obviously this is not a high quality photo, but I found it on the internet and I thought it was good. So I realized something had to change. And once, let me see if I can figure out my slide situation buttons. Okay, hold on. Okay, here we go. So this, gotta make it full screen. This was my reality for a big chunk of my coaching business. I had a lot of clients say that they really wanted to start and they would commit. And then after I would get an email a few hours later, oh, I don't know, I'm getting cold feet. And then I would also have real trouble knowing how to speak to my ideal client, because as a coach, and these days what I do, I'm a business and marketing coach for health and life coaches. I worked with a few other service providers like realtors and things like that, but mainly work with coaches. And, but before that, when I was health coaching, I didn't know who I was speaking to. I was trying to be everything to everybody. And it was really hard for me to get clients. I had zero strategy behind my actions. I was hoping things would work. I downloaded all the free trainings and webinars, and I kept saying, I'll get help from a coach when I'm making more money, which for many people that is valid, but at the same time, I was just getting it was costing me because I kept having no framework and having squirrel brain and wanting to do everything all the time and getting nowhere. It's kind of like the saying where you have a vacuum, you're cleaning with your vacuum, but the vacuum's not plugged in. So then what happened was I hit a breaking point. And if you guys want to ever interrupt me as I go through the principles today, you can, but first I'm just going to telling you my background so you know that I've struggled and you know that you can get to the other side of it. So I hit a breaking point. I was hamster wheeling, and I decided I had to make the choice first to believe in myself that I could do it as a coach, because part of me at the time didn't really think it was practical to be able to have a coaching business and be full-time, because everybody says, oh, you don't make any money. Oh, it's so hard. You know, you can't work from home, blah, blah, blah. So first I had to change my mindset, but I also invested in courses and mentors, coaches, took big risks, and got education and got mentored by many entrepreneurs, soaked it all up. And once, I'm gonna move on to the next slide if it lets me. Once I started to change my actions and invest in myself and get my mindset on point. Oops. Hey, James. I know James too. This is exciting.
Hey. So I literally just finished flying from Alaska to the East Coast. So I'm just getting into my sister's house. So thanks for presenting, Hailey. I'm so excited for this.
Awesome. All right. Well, Jane did an awesome little intro talk at the beginning, which she'll do at the end again about what all this is. but I will, I think if you can put yourself on mute, which I think you already did, we're good. So anyways, what started to happen was I started booking clients more consistently. This was not overnight. I had a better marketing strategy. I finally had an actual sales process rather than just emailing people back and forth with my pricing or my weird packages that weren't really set up properly. I had more automation, started learning my time management, because that in and of itself is another thing you have to learn when you are trying to run your own business. Started attracting clients to me organically, and that's really what I focus on with my clients currently. I have teammates that do paid marketing for my clients, but that's something that I have just gotten into and have just added. But I really think that you can have a six-figure income coaching business with organic marketing if you are really strong in your message and your social media presence and your consistency. And then started feeling more confident on my discovery calls, etc. So this stuff didn't just happen. And sorry, I'm really struggling with my, oh, here we go. Okay, so this didn't just happen. I really had to go all in and commit and figure out, you know, be committed to doing whatever it took. So the reason why I'm putting this in before we get into all the business principles is that you can't treat your business like it's a hobby. And if you continue to treat it like it's a charity or a hobby, it's going to be hard. So many people just don't treat it like a real job because we love it, but we have to. So my goal for you guys is to walk out with a few strategies that don't overwhelm you, but also give you a very big macro view of the things that you could be consistent with and fine tune after this call. And also, if you are able to implement this stuff, oh shoot, what did I miss? I'm missing something. If you do implement this stuff and you do want to book a complimentary call with me before January 5th, you are more than welcome to do that, and we could talk on more of a personal level about your goals and implementing all of this. So, and I'll send a link, or I'll send one to Shane for my calendar, and we can book a call. And that's welcome to the people who watch the replay. If you watch the replay late and you're like, oh crap, you could just email me at info@haileyrowe.com and we'll figure something out. So anyways, the first business practice, this is so basic, and you guys probably already know this, but actually putting it into place is tough, and that is filling your calendar with discovery calls. So I had the wrong approach to this in the past, and I think a lot of people have the wrong approach because at first, many people don't know who they're trying to reach, where they actually hang out, how to connect with them and build rapport, how to create content that actually drives to that person wanting to get on a call with you. And so a lot of things get lost in the shuffle, and you're just like not sure how to book discovery calls. So one thing that, well, there's a few things. First, if you don't even know who your niche is or your ideal client, I have a free niche training at haileyrowe.com, and that will guide you through having an actual elevator pitch and knowing who your ideal client is. But once you know that, then you have to ask, okay, what Facebook groups are they in? What hashtags do they use? You can go to the search page on Instagram, for example, and we could talk more about that in the Q&A if you want, and search a certain hashtag your ideal client would use, find them, connect with them, follow them, send them a welcome message. You can, in Facebook groups, you can connect with others. You can, if you have past clients, keeping in touch with them. You can go to local networking networking events where your ideal client hangs out. Like there's part of it's just going where your client is, but then once you're there, how do you actually drive the relationship? And part of that is through growing your own community, growing your own social media presence, and having content that drives people to connect with you. So for example, here's just one takeaway, because I'm not going to overwhelm everybody, but one thing you could do next week if you wanted is post a picture of you and use hashtags that your ideal client would use on your public profiles and have a post that says, I have 5 spots open this week, first come, first serve, and then whatever you offer. So it could be a nutrition consult, it could be an end of the year goal setting session, it could be a sleep jumpstart call if you're a sleep coach, it could be whatever, a relationship, if you're a relationship coach, something around that. But basically you want to say I have 5 spots open, first come, first serve. And the goal here, because that's not attracting technically, we don't know if they're qualified leads or not, but the key for you first, if you're not even having discovery calls on a weekly basis or any calls whatsoever, the key first is getting you volume, and then we can refine and figure out, okay, what's going well, what's not going well, what are they saying, how can we fine tune this? Because many people don't even have any practice, they don't have any calls in their calendar, and at the end of the day, it's just, if you want to be having a predictable, successful coaching business, it's a lot of numbers, and you have to know what's my conversion rate, how many calls am I having with unqualified leads, what are the common objections that are coming up, and how can I better deal with that? So the first key is just volume, and these calls don't necessarily have to be what we call discovery calls, which are more like, okay, let's actually see if we can work together. They don't have to be sales calls in the beginning. It could be a short call of you giving value, you seeing if somebody is a potential client and if they want to work with you, and then you can schedule a discovery call or go into it if you feel prepared and know how to do that. So that's just one thing you can do right now to start filling your calendar with more discovery calls. And I would also just set up the discipline, if we're talking about business principles, set up the discipline of setting aside time every day to connect personally with people, with your ideal client. So whether that's sending a nice message, whether that's if you guys left off on a conversation talking about how they said in your Facebook group or on your social media posts that they struggle with overeating, and you send them a video you made that was about overeating and you thought of them, like, be a thoughtful person and keep doing that kind of stuff and keep track of who you've been in touch with, when to follow up, and eventually you can lead that to a call if they feel like they want to do that. So just a few quick other ideas. You can also you can get lead gen done for you if you wanted, which you can, if you have questions about, you can ask me. I've started doing that and it's great, but also it's, you have to pay for it. So it's all about your conversion rate and all that stuff. So you have to know that by the time you start doing paid lead gen. Anyways, you can also do local mailings. Like, there's so many things you can do, but the main point after this session is just do that one post, and hopefully that helps. Okay, so let's talk about the next business practice that you want to get good at. That's actually being really awesome at discovery calls. So when I say discovery calls, like I said, that just means an actual call, presenting your packages, asking questions about what they're looking for and seeing how you guys can work together. And what I like to say about sales, what happens to most coaches on these calls is, as soon as, oh no, it's expensive, oh no, this is scary, oh no, the timing's not right, most coaches run away and they don't actually find a solution for the client. And our job as coaches, and I'm actually going to, I'm so bummed, here it is. Okay, as coaches, our job is to find solutions for our clients. And so if they get off the phone and they've only gotten a few free tips, we all know those who pay attention, and we don't usually implement and use free tips to change our life. So as Dan Sullivan says, this is how I view sales, and this is how I would highly recommend you view sales if you want to see it in a less, if you want to get rid of your poor sales mindset. And that is, selling is getting somebody intellectually engaged in a future result that is good for them, and getting them to emotionally commit to take action to achieve that result. So when it comes to selling, notice that it says it's good for them. So if they come on a call, obviously you have to know if they're a good fit, but if they come on a call and they're saying to you, I really want to be able to lose 5 pounds. I've been trying to do this for 6 years. 5 pounds might not be a big enough struggle, but okay, I've been trying to lose 25 pounds. I want to play with my kids. I feel disgusting. It's been 6 years. right? So they're saying that it would be good for them to have accountability. They want to change this. And so if you as the coach aren't willing to investigate their concerns, their fears, their objections, and find solutions for them or work through them with them, then that's where many coaches start to see trouble and struggle. So one of the things that I would recommend, there's a few parts to this. Part of succeeding on discovery calls is having enough pre-framing, meaning having enough relationship building and an educated client coming into the discovery call. So if you have not yet created some kind of email, for example, or that has like testimonials maybe, and it says what to expect on the call, and maybe sends one of your best pieces of content that's super valuable and maybe overcomes in a non, icky way, but overcomes some of the common objections that your clients have. Maybe you did a mindset video about why, why getting outside your comfort zone is a good thing, and you're kind of addressing some of the common fears that your clients have, and you send that to them. That's a good step in the right direction. If you don't have social proof yet, remember what we talked about in the last slide, where you can do the 5 free calls, give them a free mini session, and start gathering testimonials from that if they don't want to have a discovery call or anything. So anyways, that's the first step. The second step is being able to overcome objections. So I'm going to pause. I don't know what the structure usually is for this type of call, but I'm going to pause and I'm going to see, does anybody have a common objection that your ideal clients always say, or any questions about how to run a discovery call, or common struggles that you're having in that area?
Hey, Hailey, this is James. So I don't know if you're familiar with a website called bark.com, but no. I've been buying leads off of Bark. And one of the challenges that sometimes comes up is having a lead reply asking for a quote before we have jumped on a call.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So there's a lot of coaches have different views on this. Is your question, what do you do in that situation? Or, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. So yeah, I'm just wondering how you recommend handling that. The way that I've currently handled it is I kind of reply to their question with a question that is geared toward inquiry to see like what their experience is, what they're hoping to get out of coaching, etc. But I did have someone reply recently that made it very clear. They're like, I understand, but price is going to be an issue. So what's your price? So basically I quoted her, and the other thing is she was looking for coaching for her husband, which is another common occurrence on Bark that I don't really, you buy leads sometimes and then discover they're looking for a coach for someone else. Mm-hmm. So anyway, frustrating. But anyway, I'm curious how you would reply to the cost inquiry.
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. So usually what I do is I say, well, my range, because I have a course and I have a lower end offer that's like a baby offer for people who are really, want to get a test run before they work with me long term. So I say that my range is 500 to 7,000. And then I say, but if you are, and you can always, there's different ways you can do this, but you can just say, but I would want to make sure we're a fit, and I'd love to just connect with you first and see what you're really looking for. And if they say that their budget is a certain amount and you can downsize the offer to that and you feel like you can still serve them, you can always do that. It's not recommended all the time because eventually you're just going to become somebody who's, right, tweaking your offers. But what I typically would do is just give them a range and see if they still want to talk, and let them know that, you want to see, even if you're not going to make them buy anything or do anything, it's more to see if you guys are both a fit anyways. Because getting them on the phone and actually having them present to you emotionally and verbally what their struggles are, what they're looking for, etc. That's going to make your presenting your packages much more different than in a text or something. So the key is connect with them live and talk about it. But if they say in the beginning, just up front, they're truly not ready, or they're really, really out, you're really out of their budget, that's, you don't want to maybe take the call. So does that help, just giving them a range?
Yeah, that's a great point. And, I did give that client that replied a range, but I like your suggestion even better. So first off, I really only have one main offer right now. I don't have any kind of digital program or like some kind of light version that I can refer them to, but
Okay.
that's certainly in the pipeline of things to create. But I could also say to them, like my range is like 500 to 5K. And then if they're not in the 500 range, then it's not going to be something that's going to work anyway. Right. So I could say, and
Yeah.
I can get them on the phone, and then we can be like, yeah, it's $500 for, 5 1-hour sessions. Right. And that's, so that would be the $500 theoretical package if they wanted to do that. So yeah, that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. And there's one other thing. One thing that happens, because sometimes it's part of it too, is just their belief in themselves or their beliefs about the price. Like, oh, they don't think they're going to be really serious about it. So one of the things I've done in the past too with packages, if somebody's like, I can't afford it, I need time to save up, I've offered a deposit option where they pay a smaller portion of the total package, and it saves their spot to start later. Because the key is, if somebody says, I want to start, but it's not the right time right now, and then you get off the call and they're like, I'll think about it, I really do want to work with you, but it's probably going to be in March. Unfortunately, you guys cannot take that as anything. It's just not gonna, usually people, sometimes it happens, but most of the time, if they're not willing to make a deposit for at least a piece of the coaching package and save their spot for later, you haven't finished the call, or they're not interested. So in the past, one of the things I've done is say, okay, you can save your spot for $300, and I'll give you access to a few of my mindset materials. So you might not have that yet, but that's okay. You can give them something that coaches them through mindset or whatever they need to get through first to want to make the full investment, and feel better about that, because then they get a little taste of success and they save their spot, and it's not like a complete goodbye at the end.
Yeah, and it gives them the opportunity to actually put their money where their mouth is, right? Like, if you're committed to doing this, then this is your opportunity to commit, because I can't guarantee that I'm going to have a spot 3 months from now. So awesome. That's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. Does anybody have any other questions about sales? No? Okay, cool. So basically on the sales calls, I talk about how to run through those in my program, but the bottom line is to become somebody who investigates their concerns and objections, does your job of coaching them through their concerns, understanding them, adjusting and solving their problems however they need them to be solved, when you present your offers or your packages. Now, the other thing is, if you guys haven't read the book, and this isn't for coaches in particular, but it's a great book, Closer Survival Guide, highly recommend it. He's a little too intense sometimes, in my opinion, but if you listen to that book, you can become very strong at feeling confident about your offer, feeling confident that sales isn't a bad thing, etc. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, business practice number 3, which basically is becoming the master of your own mind, time, and emotions. So this, I think a lot of people on this call will already be good at this because they're coaches. But the main reason why people quit in coaching, at least for when I've worked with clients in the past, and AKA when I haven't worked with clients, when they don't sign up, it's usually because they aren't willing to delay gratification, invest first before they're making money, or like take time to do the process, post on social media, build their audience when they have like 2 followers. Most people aren't willing to keep showing up when they don't see the actual results. So we have to be really good as business owners at constantly not drifting and staying on our path. So the things that have allowed me, or the principles, I guess, that have allowed me to stay on path is, if you guys haven't ever used, when it comes to time and managing your own time, if you haven't ever used the app called Toggl, it's Toggl. It's a great app because it allows you to time where you're spending your time each week. And at the end, it sends you a map of, okay, here's what you actually did this week. So it's free, and that's something you should do if you're like, no, I'm not getting results. I feel like I'm doing a lot. And then you time yourself and you realize, oh, wow, social media is leading to no results. I need to like figure out what's going on there. Oh, I spent like 7 hours on discovery calls and I booked only 1 client. Like, okay, what's the conversion rate, blah, blah, blah. So just paying attention to that is really important. When it comes to your own mindset, we have to be used to, dealing with rejection, showing up, like we have to keep showing up. So one of the things I tell my clients, because sometimes they have a call and they feel bummed because they really wanted to work with a client, for example, and we have to just focus on showing up as our best selves, doing everything we possibly could and bringing our best, and not base our happiness in our business on what other people end up doing around us. Whether they say yes or not, you should go into that discovery call, leave that discovery call knowing, well, I did my part and that was that, and that you can feel good about. So 2 tools that I'm going to recommend everybody do after this call is, before you have a big thing, maybe it's before you have a discovery call or a presentation or something, do Dan Sullivan's impact filter. It's free. He has a blog about it. It's just a few questions that get you ready and prepared and mindset wise ready to dominate. And then the other thing is his experience transformer. So anytime you have something that doesn't go well, or you're trying to figure out the problem, look up Dan Sullivan experience transformer, and he has questions to transform what you would have thought was a bad experience, but how to learn from it. So becoming somebody who can learn from the problems, make that time to evaluate. And then every morning, highly recommend writing down your financial goal and your goals each day, but also the objectives that you need to do. What are your basics or your objectives that you want to be doing consistently to have those goals? So most people just write their goals, but we're not committed to the consistent little mundane daily basics, and they don't even have a definition of what those are for them. And therefore they just write down their goals and feel good about them, but sometimes they don't stay consistent with those little things they need to do every day. Okay, so we'll leave it at that, because I feel like everybody here is really strong mentally. There was one other slide I had that was, I don't know why it's showing up weird. Here we go. Value creation. This is basically how you create your content. And I think we could talk about this for like 2 hours, but I think the one thing I'll leave you all with that has helped me know a template for being a better content creator, because part of me used to feel like I was putting out all these tips and that I had to be giving out all this tactical strategy tips all the time in order to get business. And I found that that's really not true, unfortunately. And I'm shifting into doing this bite-sized little things, repurposing one piece of content that's, longer into tiny things that people can pick up on and take away, because everybody has such a short attention span. But here's the other big takeaway. It's not about the tips. It's actually about changing people's beliefs and the pre-framing that has to go on before they feel the confidence to get on a call with you. So you actually have to be talking about the benefits of just a free call with you, not your program all the time. And you also have to be talking about, for example, with the beliefs, here's a framework you can use. So for example, present a belief that your ideal client has So let's say you're a coach for busy moms and you help them with their health and wellness and stress. And they all feel, you know, because you've talked to many of them, that it's really selfish to take care of yourself as a mom, invest in yourself as a mom, because you should be doing that for your family all the time. So maybe you have a headline that says, you know, can't seem to relax without being down, like without feeling guilt, mom guilt or something. And then you affirm that you understand this belief. So in other words, yeah, our society makes us sound like we need to be the perfect PTO mom. We need to be, you know, whatever else you can say about how our society has these high demands on busy moms. And then you can discredit the belief. So you can say something like, well, so-and-so, insert some celebrity, is a mom, but she has a staff of 5 people and she's able to, her family still likes her or something, you know, something to discredit the belief. My examples are always pretty bad on the spot. Then you can give a tip or two or a piece of encouragement to help shift the belief that it's not selfish to take care of yourself as a mom. And then you have your call to action. Comment below, what is your biggest, you know, guilty pleasure or something. And the key with value creation is to get people to talk to you. You want to be the type of person with your content who, when you call, they pick up the phone. And this is something hard to balance sometimes, but we all know the people who call you and you don't want to pick up the phone because they're going to be asking for something, or it's going to be something really long and intense or dramatic. And right, so you want to have that balance of, I want to be the person who they want to pick up my phone calls. And inviting conversation, because once you have the conversation with them privately or in your comment section, then you can start to support them further, learn more about them, etc. So let's, I'm almost done with this and we can open it up to questions. After this, because everybody's different and everybody has a different situation they're in right now with their coaching business. But one exercise I just learned from the book, Everything's Figureoutable by Marie Forleo, is write down all your ideas about, wouldn't it be cool if? And these are not just, wouldn't it be cool if I lived in Paris and traveled the world or whatever. This is also in your business practices. Wouldn't it be cool if I didn't have to create my own content and I had somebody repurposing it for me? Wouldn't it be cool if I could sell a blank dollar package for the first time? Wouldn't it be cool if I could hit 5-figure income months consistently this year? Whatever it is for you, but make sure, because your personal principles that are going to be the most important for you are going to be derived from that list. So if you wrote down, well, wouldn't it be cool if I had somebody who could repurpose my content, then your focus needs to be that for right now, finding somebody, hiring somebody, etc. So it's just a cool exercise because not everybody is going to have the exact same daily principles that they need to do. So that's something I would invite you to do. Okay, last thing, just a reminder, I'll put this link in the email after this. And if you book your call before January 5th using this calendar, you get 2 free bonuses, which are 2 5-day training courses, how I tripled my clients in 30 days, and how to book 3 discovery calls using Instagram. So this part about the form, it's just the Calendly link, and you can get early bird pricing if you do this Calendly booking before the deadline. Okay, does anybody have any questions? Oh, this is what, if you don't follow principles and you just keep aimlessly hoping and wandering in your business, this is what everybody continues. When I talk to coaches, these are the common phrases that come up. Analysis paralysis, aimless hustle, not knowing if my program will sell, hoping, squirrel brain, and shiny object syndrome. So just, if you feel like this is you and this is happening consistently, just try to hone in on what your daily principles are and use some of the things we talked about today. And I hope that that helps.